There's so many overlaps between our beliefs about money and our beliefs about food because it's got such a value to us because we know instinctively that food is the thing that keeps us alive. It's the thing that it's energy. It truly is.
A lot of people are making a lot of excuses for why we can't eat healthy or whatever. I mean, the good news is, guys, this is 2025 and we've never had more options, more food choices, more convenience, more anything than we have right now. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Financial Mastery Simplified. I am your host, Jacqueline or Jax Crider, and today we have Miss Megan on. She is in the health, wellness, weight loss space. And so we are going to talk a little bit about all things like, people believing that being healthy has to be crazy expensive, etc. So welcome, Megan. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you're excited to be on the podcast today.
Thank you, Jax. I appreciate it. So as you said, I'm Megan. I'm from New York. I am a health coach. I help people who have a weight loss goal and who want to pursue it really authentically, mindfully, self-compassionately. I love the prospect of coming on like a financial mastery podcast because I grew up very frugal. Like my parents were super frugal. So I grew up with that no waste mindset. And I bet a lot of people can relate. Some of my clients really relate, but this view of food as something you cannot waste and is sometimes scarce really ramps up a lot of our emotional eating or a lot of our feelings of I have to eat it while it's here. So a little background about me. Yeah, a little background about me. Much of my adulthood, I was about 230, 235 pounds. And finally, enough was enough. A lot of that was emotional eating. And in 2018, I ended up losing 100 pounds by addressing that very directly. And that's what really brought me to weight loss coaching to help other people, overcome that. But during that, I found a lot of interesting crossovers between my frugal mindset and my I got to eat this now mindset.
For sure.
Yeah. And so that really made me interested to come on and talk.
Yeah, for sure. People don't really realize, I get this a lot when I ask people to be guests on my show. They'll say, well, I can't be on your show. And I said, okay, why not? Well, I don't deal, I'm not an expert in money. And I'm like, okay, but you cross over with money. I promise you do. No matter what you do, you cross over with money. And the truth is that people don't realize that true financial mastery crosses over so many bounds because of exactly stuff like that, right? Like you don't realize like financially the scarcity mentality that sometimes is built within us because of survival, like your brain, the RAS, the reticular activating system, like how that kind of looking for things, like how those processes really are crossing over into other avenues that do directly relate with money, right? Like I talk actually a fair bit about food in general because number one, I'm a foodie and a half. I love to eat. I love food. I love just, I feel like food brings you, together. And I grew up in a family that food was a very central point of sort of our lives, our relationships. But also people don't realize like how much food is as far as like an expense goes. Like if you're looking at like line items expenses, after like your big ticket rent or, whatever, food is actually really, really up there. And it makes a lot of sense that, these patterns that you're holding in some of the monetary ways, they're actually crossing over and it's potentially negatively affecting you even on the health side, right? And it's why it's super important to talk about them and to relate them because a lot of people are naturally not going to make that correlation, right? It's like health and wellness, one bucket, money, one bucket. And it's like, it's not that clean. It'd be a lot easier if it was that clean.
There's so many overlaps between our beliefs about money and our beliefs about food because it's got such a value to us because we know instinctively that food is the thing that keeps us alive. It's the thing that it's energy. It truly is. So it makes sense that that would all overlap in our minds. And I know that I spend much less. That line item of food is much less than it used to be just because of the restaurant trips. Increasing your home. Yeah, increasing your home meals. If 20 out of 21 of my meals during a week are from home, whereas they used to be like maybe only 10 or 15 out of 21 meals, that's a huge impact that you can have on that line item. But at the same time, so many of us still have this idea that eating a ton of vegetables or eating what we quote unquote call healthy food, eating in a way to support a lower weight, takes like really expensive shakes and really organic vegetables and like all this. We have this idea that the line item gets bigger when we try to eat healthy. And it's very interesting how not true that is.
Yes, for sure. Well, and I think a lot of times people too they forget that a lot of what boils down into health too for a lot of people is convenience. And the things that are convenient tend to be a little bit more expensive and they tend to be worse for you. And so there's a lot that you can do with food in general if you're willing to do something that I talk about on the podcast all the time, which is intentionality, right? You have to first of all, sit down and allow yourself to have a self awareness of like, okay, what is priority for me? Where do I want to be? Right. And we have the epidemic of obesity. And I think a lot of that is due to a few things. Of course, one is the convenient foods that are really bad for us that people have just sort of convinced themselves over time, like, oh, hey, it's fine. Like I'm just going to eat this one time. And then they don't realize like the patterns they fall into and things like that or whatever. In a lot of respects, that a lot of people want to be healthy, but they are a little bit scared of it. They tell themselves the stories that, oh, it's going to be too expensive. When if they really boiled down and they really stripped back and they really looked at it, that really wouldn't be the case. It really wouldn't be as bad as they think it would be.
Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors.
Imagine having the power to control your financial destiny, no matter where you start. Welcome to the Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform, where financial education is tailored to your unique journey. We cover everything you need, from basic budgeting and saving strategies to advanced investing and retirement planning. Learn at your own pace with lessons that match your level of experience. Whether you're a beginner or looking to enhance your financial knowledge, join our community of learners and benefit from shared insights and expert guidance. The Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform equips you with the skills and confidence to take charge of your financial future. Ready to master your finances? Enroll in our courses today at the Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform. Start your path to financial independence now.
Visit us at fms.tips and fms.college for more information.
Hello and welcome to PBJ Mortgage, where your home ownership dreams become reality. Today, we want to share why choosing PBJ Mortgage is the right choice for your home financing needs. At PBJ Mortgage, we're built on a foundation of values that drive us every day. Our commitment to educate, empathize, and empower our clients sets us apart in the mortgage industry. Our clients are at the heart of everything we do, and their success stories speak volumes. With years of experience, our team possesses in-depth knowledge of the mortgage programs, ensuring you receive expert guidance and the best possible rates. We offer a diverse range of loan options to suit your unique needs, including conventional, FHA, VA, and more. No matter your situation, we've got a solution. At PBJ Mortgage, we pride ourselves on providing personalized service. Our dedicated loan officers are here to guide you every step of the way, making the process as smooth as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We understand that time is of the essence, which is why we've streamlined our processes for efficiency and convenience. Transparency and clear communication are paramount. You'll always know where you stand throughout your mortgage journey. Reach out to us today to set up a call to discover your options. If you're ready to make your home ownership dreams a reality, contact PBJ Mortgage today. Let us empower you during this exciting journey. Phone number 4-693-733-107 www.pbjteam.com. Visit our website or give us a call to get started. We look forward to helping you secure your future home. PBJ Mortgage, where home begins.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, and the biggest example I see, and this was kind of me at the beginning of my journey, but it's where I see a lot of clients have this disconnect. The concept of getting food that is relatively whole foods, but it's slightly prepared in some way. There's a big barrier to people when they think of purchasing that to buy back some of their time. And there's a big disconnect because many of those same people are in a place where they often have to eat out of convenience. So they're spending
For sure.
like 3 times as much on work lunches being ordered out or drive through on the way home or pizza every single like 2 nights a week. Whereas if they use some of those convenience items that are mostly whole foods, like the pre-cut vegetables or the frozen vegetables that you can just pop in the microwave or on the skillet,
For sure.
they would save not only time but money on that.
Oh,
But
for
there's
sure.
but it's interesting how the unit price really gets people, because they're like, well, I could buy this whole butternut squash for $2, or I could buy this container of cubed butternut squash, basically the same thing, but it's $3. And they feel, oh no, I could never do that. And that just blocks them
So
from
expensive.
taking this very helpful thing. It really blocks them. It's fascinating.
No, it is really fascinating. Like one of the things that I run into personally is that so my husband grew up in a family where they really did not have a lot of money, and so food was not super prevalent, and so that of course first of all starts a little bit of this scarcity mentality. And so when you sort of have that feeling, especially surrounding food specifically, you have a tendency to want to eat everything that's available, eat all the things that you didn't have. You know what I mean? Like when you were in that situation of not having a lot or whatever. And so he actually has a fair bit of bad eating habits kind of surrounding that. And not only that, but like he looks at eating out as like the pinnacle of wealth, like
Yeah.
in his brain. And not only is it expensive, but it's also not super great for you. Like I tell people that all the time, that I actually really enjoy cooking. I actually really enjoy eating more whole foods. And I typically tend to feel a lot better when that is happening as opposed to, eating out or whatever. But it does take some intentionality. It does take some, some planning. And I think that's a lot of times. And it actually, this is where some of the AI factor, and I talk about AI a fair bit in my podcast too, is coming into play, because for the first time ever, you don't have the mental brain power to be like, I have no idea what to cook tonight. You literally can just like tell ChatGPT what you're having in your house, like what's in your freezer, what's in your pantry, what's whatever, and it'll like come up with a meal for you, right? Like a recipe plan, like all the things. I mean, how cool is that? Because I can tell you, I've been meal planning forever, and that is probably the hardest part, is the intentionality of like, okay, what is it that I'm going to do? And then going to the store, right? Selecting all of the things. And a lot of those barriers of entry that people are convincing themselves are so hard, they really are eliminated. Because number one, you can have your groceries delivered. You can just literally like drive up like on your way home from work and like have them brought to your car if that's what you want to do instead. Like you can have them all kinds of different choices, right? You don't have to physically walk into the actual store. And you can either have meal planning services, like where they give you all the recipes and everything that you need. Have you ever heard of somebody called the Passionate Penny Pincher?
Oh, does
You know
she
who she
do
is?
like, she has a blog with a lot of these planning tools and things? It sounds so familiar.
So she does specifically crock pot related things. So basically
Okay.
her idea is like to create these meals that are very easy to more or less create by, more or less dumping ingredients into a crock pot. Or there's a little bit of prep that you have to do, and then it ends up going into a slow cooker, right? So that there's no excuses, because the truth is that a lot of our excuses come at the end of the day because we're tired. We just spent all of our time at work. Like we're mentally just drained. And so if you had started in the morning when you like were ready to start your day and all the things, and you did all that process, then when you get home, it's done basically, or there's like 2 more steps. And so you'll do those 2 steps. You just won't do the 10 steps it would have taken to get to the full meal. And so that's sort of the idea. And she offers a service. And right now it's only through Walmart, but you pay $8 a month. And she actually takes her recipe boxes, the ones that if you already own them, and it actually puts it into your cart. So
And
literally
then all
all
you have to
you
do is
do is
hit
it drops into
purchase.
the cart. It drops in the cart, like because Walmart has, and I don't know if those of you are listening who know this, but you can actually pay for a service where Walmart will come and like actually bring it to your house. Like they actually will put it in your fridge. Now, for me, that's a little like, I don't know. I haven't gotten that comfortable. I'm still a little bit of a nerd. Like I like to go and like pick my own stuff. But
Yeah.
the fact that you literally can do that, or even just like drive up and have it come out and like brought out to you is awesome because it takes all the guesswork out and you don't really have to think about anything.
Yeah, all these things you're saying, the theme for me is like there are so many barriers we put up that don't have to be barriers.
They're not real.
Yeah, and I've heard of someone similar, the family freezer. Have you heard of the family freezer? I love that. It's so simple, and it's those kinds of meals where you just put 8 different canned or whole food items in a Ziploc bag, and all you have to do is take it out of the freezer and put it in the slow cooker in the morning. And it's that piece of finding the time when you most have the willpower to do
sure.
the small amount of work that is actually necessary. So
For sure.
I like your idea of doing it in the morning because really we do have this fresh store of willpower when we wake up after a night's sleep that we never have in the evening. I actually just made a joke on my Instagram earlier today. I don't know if you know the Lord of the Rings picture with Elrond and Frodo, and Elrond is like speaking to fainted Frodo on the ground. For me, Elrond is like my morning self that sets the intentions, and then the fainted Frodo on the ground is the evening self who wants like 8 donuts and a nap. So,
I love that so much.
Is always how it happens. So like these little tasks feel really big when you're looking in the context of your entire everything you're trying to do. Take care of your family, be great at your job, take care of your direct reports. Like when you look at it in that context, it feels like I do not have time to do even the smallest thing. So finding the tiny parts of your week, very consistently saving those 5 to 10 minutes to do the actions. And like you said, not letting your brain get into it. Let ChatGPT or these other services do the heavy lifting for you.
For sure.
That is a big piece of bringing that line item budget down, but still eating so much more from home, which is a huge factor that you have in your control when you're trying to improve your health through your food choices.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors.
Welcome to Financial Mastery Simplified, your go-to podcast for making smart money decisions. We break down complex financial topics into easy-to-understand advice you can use every day. Our experts cover everything from budgeting and saving to investing and retirement planning. We give you the tools to take control of your money and build the future you want. With Financial Mastery Simplified, you'll feel informed and empowered to make the best choices for your financial health. Tune in to Financial Mastery Simplified on your favorite podcast platform. Start your journey to financial confidence today.
Visit us at fms.tips and fms.college for more information.
Welcome to House U, where we believe in the power of education. At House U, we're more than just a brand. We're your partner in home ownership, dedicated to educating, equipping, and empowering you every step of the way. Education is at the heart of everything we do. We offer comprehensive resources designed to make home ownership simple and accessible for all. From understanding mortgage options to mastering home maintenance, House U provides the knowledge you need to make informed decisions with confidence. We host workshops and seminars, bringing together experts and community members to share insights and build a stronger, more informed community. Because when you're educated, you're empowered. House U, home ownership made simple for all. Visit our website or contact us today to start your journey with House U. Empower yourself with knowledge and embrace the joy of home ownership.
Thanks for your patience. Now back to our conversation.
it's so interesting to me too. Like this is the other thing that people just really don't consider is that a lot of grocery stores now, I mean, they're maybe not as healthy for you as like if you were to do the work of like whatever, but a lot of them offer where they've actually made the meal. So it's a lot less preservatives, a lot less bad for you than like, you know, your freezer, whatever the heck. Like my operations manager is a single guy. And so a lot of times it's hard for him to cook because it's just one person. And I hear that a lot from people, my friends who are single is like, but Jax, you know, you have a whole family of people. It's hard to cook for one person or just 2 people or whatever. And so that's the other thing that I tell people is like, look outside the box. There's also a lot of companies that will meal prep for you, right? Like, there's a lot of, people in a lot of the moms groups where they'll do that. They basically batch cook and they'll make, so many kind of meals, whatever, and you can pay them so much money a week. And then they literally will bring these basically homemade things, and then you just have to heat them back up or whatever the case may be. And
Yeah.
so again, I go back to a lot of people are making a lot of excuses for why we can't eat healthy or whatever. I mean, the good news is, guys, this is 2025 and we've never had more options, more food choices, more convenience, more anything than we have right now.
And I want to speak to, because you brought up a great point, excuses abound. And it's totally normal. Like, it is very expected because we are overworked. Like, we have a culture of overwork and over people
Absolutely.
pleasing. So it is
For
so
sure.
expected that these excuses would come up. Like, of course, if you feel that your energy is always on a tight leash, you never have anything to spare, it makes sense that these excuses would come up. Like, I don't really have time to get to the store. I don't have time to do this, to put the groceries in the cart even. But what I found actually is that the one important reason why we keep getting these excuses and letting them trip us up is that we have super high expectations of what a healthy meal really is.
For
And
sure.
what I have found very helpful is to first define very specifically what your goal is with health, because the word healthy is way too vague. It means something
Yes,
different
that
for
is so
every
true.
it means something different for every single person, depending on your bio individuality, whether you want to lose weight or build muscle or reduce your negative blood markers or better treat your blood sugar. Whatever it is, it's going to have slightly different things that you need to do with your food in order to be successful. So what you really have to do first is get real clear about what your goal is and what that piece of success is for you. If it's weight loss, it's going to be calories and filling stuff, right? You're going to want protein, fiber, and you want to keep your calories in check. So you got to keep it to those things. Don't add, oh, but I have to have no sugar. So that recipe has ketchup in it, so I can't use that recipe. Or I can't have carbs, so that recipe has white rice, so I gotta not use it. All people are doing is adding to the expectations unnecessarily, and then it becomes too high of a wall and they don't want to climb over
Yeah,
it.
they
So
won't
they
go
just
over it.
back
That's
away.
right.
Yeah. So the first step is be really clear with what your expectations are and stop adding unnecessary ones.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I mean, it's just so interesting to me too, because I get the the barrier. Like, I actually did a whole episode by myself where I talked about some of my tips on how I actually really can skinny down a budget with food by just being creative, right? And kind of thinking outside the box and being intentional. And I think so many people they're making excuses or they're using the excuse. I hear this a lot. Well, I'm not a cook. I don't know how to cook or whatever. And again, the truth is that there's so many really simple things. And I think in a lot of ways, we're overcomplicating things,
Yeah,
right?
like you
Like,
said, those services at Target, they have little meal baskets where it comes with a salad kit, a bag of broccoli, the chicken already portioned out, and the rice already portioned out, and it has
yep.
instructions for you. And every store has its own version of that. Walmart, Target, Stop and Shop, they all have their own. And yeah, so like you said, the excuses are common, but it blinds us to all the benefits that we have available to us.
Yeah, I think again, it's just like with I mean, and everybody, you're right, everybody has their own definition of health, just like everybody has their own definition of wealth. And, I started this podcast because I wanted you to live life on your terms, whether that be, and I say that all the time, you want to live in a van, you want to travel all around the country, and that's like what the lifestyle you want to live, or you want to own multiple, 40 houses or something like that, right? Like, it doesn't really matter to me because I'm not living in your space or whatever. But I think that a lot of people are starting to really recognize and realize their health because we have ignored it for so long.
Mm.
But I'll be real, it definitely does feel overwhelming at moments. Like, oh man, gosh, I'm over here killing myself to make a dollar, and I don't have time to try to think about what kind of healthy food or what am I feeding my family. But I will give you a reason it's actually quite important for you to make effort to eat at home and things like that, is because of actually what happens to your children. So let me explain to you what I mean.
Hmm.
I have a really good friend, and she is an amazing working mom. She's the primary breadwinner for the family. And so, because of that, they ended up eating out a lot just because she didn't have the time and capacity to figure out, what are they eating. And that wasn't really something her husband did well. So they ended up eating out a lot. And she started to see this pattern in her daughter where her daughter would literally only eat like four things. Well, the reason her daughter would only eat four things is because, think about it, you go to a restaurant and a children's menu is pretty limited. And not only that, but you're letting your child pick. And so they're getting this false sense of, well, I can pick whatever I want. And part of childhood, in my opinion, is not necessarily to force feed your kids or force them to eat a bunch of crap that they don't want to eat, but it is to push them outside of the comfort zone and try things that they wouldn't otherwise try. And if you're not doing that on your table and like pushing out things that are like, hey, this is, three or four different kinds of vegetables. And hey, we're going to at least try a bite of them. Like, that's my role with my daughter. I was like, look, you just try one little bite. If you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to eat it. But I do want you to at least try a bite, because for those of you who don't know, your taste buds change every 7 years. And so you might think, oh, I hate blah, blah, blah. But guess what? That is changing. And that's why, if any of you who have toddlers like I do, it seems like every 2 days they have a different taste bud. And their favorite thing they just ate yesterday, they absolutely hate it today.
And you just ate you just bought like 40 packs of them from Costco, and now they don't like them anymore.
Yeah, literally my daughter. And I'm really lucky and really blessed. My toddler actually does like a lot of vegetables, but I also think it's because we prompt her and we promote her to eat a lot of things, and we give her a fair bit of body autonomy that, we don't have to eat every single thing on our plate, because that's another thing that has created some unhealthy eating habits, is that concept you were talking about, waste, right? And people feeling like they have to eat every tiny bit of it because there's that scarcity mentality again. But we do require her, like last night, okay, cool, you want dessert, you want to be able to eat a cookie, well, then you're at least going to eat a fair bit of your other things. You have to eat all of it? No, but you're sure as heck going to eat 2-3 bites of each thing before you get to eat the cookie that you are so desperately wanting to eat, right? We're not doing that game. I'm not playing the game of we're just eating 90% cookie and 10% good, healthy food for you.
I love how you explain this, because it makes so much sense when you talk about it as a mom and as you're bringing up this baby who's going to become an adult. Like, you are picturing them growing into an adult and needing to fuel themselves well. And of course, you want to bring those skills to them and give them the experience they need to do that when they're adults too. And I think even if you don't have kids, you can relate to looking at yourself as someone who probably doesn't really crave vegetables all the time, would often rather have a cookie than the broccoli. You can think of yourself as someone who gets into food ruts and has the same kind of things over and over again. And think of yourself as someone who doesn't always eat foods that their body really kind of needs to run well and to do all the things you expect it to do, like run a company or run your team at work. So I think it's really helpful if you have been wanting to make changes and you find yourself making these excuses, to take a moment and like imagine yourself as a child and just see like, okay, you are eating these things. If I were talking to a child and bringing up that child to treat themselves really well, what are the kind of things I would offer that child? What are the kind of boundaries I would give that child so that they knew, yes, cookies are awesome, but also broccoli is really important. And I can make broccoli the way I like it too. So it is so nice to get out of the habit of looking at yourself like a stern boss would look at yourself, which I think we always get into the habit of, like, you got to be doing more. You didn't quite do enough work today. You got a little lazy. And then start looking at yourself as, what are some of the things that I wish you had access to? What are some of the things that I want you to get outside of your comfort zone and try? It's such a great way to bring yourself a little bit of the healthy changes that you've been wanting to, in a really kind way, and not like a negative way, but in a positive way.
So the other thing that we did, so I have 3 adult stepdaughters, and one of the things that was a requirement in my household is that you had a weekly chore. And so it rotated. So because we had 3 daughters, they rotated. So every third week you had, whatever the task was or whatever, right? And one of those tasks was cooking. And they didn't have to cook like the whole week. So don't think like I'm a horrible, evil stepmom. I mean, maybe my girls would say that, but I don't think so. I'm pretty close to all three of them. But what was a requirement for me is that you needed to pick what you wanted to cook. You need to tell me what we needed ingredient wise, right? So that let you be responsible for going and like kind of figuring that part out. And then I would help you cook it. But that wasn't very intentional. And the reason it was very intentional is my mom is saying that we're not raising kids, we're raising adults. And I wanted them to be able to do it. Now, all three of them have varying ideas of whether they like it or not. So one of them loves to cook. One of them tolerates it. Like she definitely can do it. She knows how, but it's not her fave. And then the other one is more of like a baker. So she doesn't really love to like do like the regular cooking, but again, also knows how. But again, why did I do this, right? The reason I did this is because it's a life skill. And oftentimes some of the barrier of entry that I've seen, like you, hopefully he won't mind me sharing, but like my operations manager, he never learned how to cook. And so in his adulthood, he ate out forever because nobody had ever taken the time and he felt stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And so he felt like I can't cook, which is not true. He just was never taught. And then let's be real, as you're trying to navigate everything else in life when you come into adulthood, oh crap, I gotta pay bills. I've gotta learn how to, do this job. I have to, figure out where I'm living and all these different avenues and things that are kind of coming into our space. If we're not actively helping teach these kinds of things to our kids, we're setting them up for failure because they're not like a rock's not going to drop out of the sky. I talk about this with money all the time. Rock's not going to drop out of their sky when they turn 18, guys, and they're just going to figure it out. Like, here we go. The money stuff is falling into my brain, or how to cook is going to fall into my brain, right? And I get it. Some of you are saying, but Jax, I'm not a good cook. Like, I'm not good at it. A lot of things are not as hard as you think they are. Like we live in the era of slow cookers, of Instapots, of air fryers,
of
microwaves,
take and
like all
bake things. You can buy take and bake things and just pop them in the oven.
Correct.
This is what I love about you. Called it a life skill, which when you think about the phrase, I'm not very good at cooking, you would never say that about laundry. Like, I'm not very good at laundry. You just learned it. You're like, oh, I have to learn to do it because I need clean clothes. We don't really think of cooking the same way, but it really is exactly the same because we need to eat in order to function. And the way that, what popped in my brain when you said that was when you can't do laundry or you don't have time to do laundry or you're not very good at it, you might bring it to a laundromat, which is great and is not very expensive, but you wouldn't hire someone to come and do your laundry for you unless you have tons of means, right? Like that's a really expensive way to handle this problem. And what so many people do is they use restaurants, and that's like hiring someone to make all your food for you from scratch. Like that's like hiring someone to do your laundry for you personally. Why not do the laundromat way, which is get some of these pre-cooked things that are really easy to assemble and put together, or use that slow cooker. Those are the laundromat solutions. We don't want the personal assistant solution. We want the laundromat solution.
Well, and the thing is too, is like, if you don't want to go and you're like, oh, I don't like any of the things or whatever, dude, look up like super simple recipes. Because so I had in college, well, actually one in college and then one after college, I had two different roommates who could not cook worth a dang. In fact, that's one of the things they told me when they coming in. And I told them, I said, I promise I can teach you how to cook some easy things. Oh no, I'm like, I promise. You want to make a bet? Like we'll bet on this. I promise. And I would teach them like some super simple, like foolproof, easy peasy kind of things, right? And just like any other skill set, if you don't think you can do it on your own, hire somebody to help you. There are cooking classes, there are like where you can physically go and they can physically show you, or even online, right? Like there's so many different online courses or whatever. YouTube channels are literally going to show you step by step, like chop up this, do this or whatever, right? I mean, I am a fairly good cook and always like to cook. So, I mean, I am blessed in that respect. But my family, when we went to southern France, we actually went to a cooking class. It was definitely not cheap, but it was probably the best class I've ever been to in my entire life for a few reasons. So this man was a Michelin star chef. He was retired. And then he also, for a lot of years, taught at Le Cordon Bleu in France.
Oh my
So this
gosh.
is not only just like an excellent chef, but he also was a teacher, right? Like he taught professional level chefs. And I learned so much from him. Like I learned you should never add salt to anything until the end. He said that salt is an amplifier. It's completely unnecessary to add it early on in the dish. It will only dehydrate and it's just unnecessary. And he's like, so why does the sodium count end up off the like out of this world high on American food? Well, because they're adding salt throughout the process, it's not needed. He's like literally just added at the very end as the finishing. And he's like, you'll elevate whatever the flavors you've created and you're perfectly fine. And he also taught us use different spices. And that for those of you who are not cooks, I will tell you, you're going to think I'm mad. But if you've ever watched the show Beat Bobby Flay, I used to have it playing in my family room while I cooked. And I'm not even joking. I recognize this trend because my brain is ADHD, so I pick up on weird stuff. He uses smoked paprika in almost everything. Like, I'm not even joking to you.
I'm not surprised.
And so this like high level chef like is always using it in like every dish. It didn't matter what it was. I swear, besides dessert, it was smoked paprika and honey. He used it in like every dish. And I'm like, okay, so this has got to be somebody who's like, you know, he knows a lot of stuff, way more than me about food. So I started doing it. Man, it like elevates food a lot more with something that's not salt, with that is a healthy thing. And so, you know, just look for things like that can just like make it simple and just kind of like easily elevate things. Because it's true.
The fact that you brought up ADHD is awesome because the ADHD community has created all these resources because they're connecting on Facebook and Reddit, places where you can go and read it. They're connecting about the simple meals that they put together, and they're butting up against this difficulty of their attention is very divided and unfocused. And so they need simplistic but great tasting, right? Because also ADHD folks often report like, I need to be stimulated, or I need my food to really I need to really enjoy it. I'm like that too. I don't know if I have ADHD, but I love to really like my food. So the ADHD community has created all of these threads all over the internet of easy meals. They're like simple graphics, like add this thing, that thing, this thing. You can't get simpler with your food and more delicious because they make sure they've got some good flavors in there. The other places there are a lot of Reddit threads of people who are shift workers or otherwise extremely busy with their work and need to really streamline their food. They know they have to stay fed, but they do not have the time to do it. And so those are wonderful resources to take advantage of because they've basically curated all these really simple and often very frugal recipes that still taste good, that these people are living off of. So, you know, just more evidence for your claim that there's a ton of resources out there to get over these excuses.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about ADHD, so let me tell you something. For those of you who are listening who are ADHD, here is my $1 million idea that will literally save you, I don't even know how much money. You need to batch cook. So I will literally go, and most of the time it's a Sunday, but it doesn't have to be. Sometimes it'll be a Monday or whatever. And I literally will have figured out what sort of that is going to look like. And I will do all of the actual real prep. So that means like cooking all of my meat. That means chopping up all of my vegetables, right? To your point, you actually can buy them already chopped, but I'm a very frugal person and I like to deal with a lot of that on myself. So I'll go in and I'll chop up like all the things. And I try to keep kind of a theme. So like somebody the other day was asking me like, well, you know, you had 3 girls and they were all really picky because they were very different. And in fact, I have one daughter who has some extreme allergies. So she's allergic to almost all nuts. As well as she for a while was not eating any red meat. And I'm a Texas girl, so we love our red meat down here. So that was hard for me, right? And so what I had to do is I had to learn to do components, meaning cook things sort of individually that then can be placed together as a component.
Taco
and what
nights.
I realized, what'd you say?
Taco nights. Those are the best ones.
Yeah. No, what I realized is that yes, what you can do in a lot of respects is make your life easier. So for instance, we would do something called like fake Chipotle bowls. Well, so I would prep cook at the beginning of the week, and what I would do is I would cook three kinds of meat. I would cook pork, I would cook beef, and I would cook chicken. And I would cook them like one in the slow cooker, one on the stove or something, and then I would cook one like let's say in like
On
the
a
Instant
skillet.
Pot. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'd cook like three different ways, whatever, right? While that was all happening, I have a rice cooker, so I'd cook the rice. I would cook like all these other things. Well, then it becomes nachos, a burrito bowl, tacos, like whatever kind of way you want to make it. And over the course of that week, a couple different times, we usually wouldn't eat it back to back, but like Monday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, we would do those things because we had all that food. And if the girls wanted something for lunch, they would just, put it all together and then just go ahead and take it for lunch. It was super simple that way, and things like that. So a lot of times people are overcomplicating this. If you just spend the time, because like that would usually take me, I don't know, hour and a half to do all that kind of batch work, but then it was done. There
Yeah.
was no like it was heating stuff up like when we were ready to eat. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta go chop something, I gotta prep something or whatever. And so a lot of times people are making excuses that are really unnecessarily, because then my focus was just this one little focus area, and then that was it. I have to deal with it for the rest of the week.
And then you're free for the rest of the week. And what I want to offer folks who are in single person households too, or like a 2-person household, is to do batch cooking. You could do it too. You don't have to eat the same thing every day, but what you need to do is when you batch cook, you create extras for the freezer. So you're basically creating a freezer stash so that every week you can pull a few of your like ghost of the past meals. And therefore you don't have the same chili 7 days in a row. You have one day chili, one day last week's stew, one day last week's curry. But what you need to do is every time you make a batch of something, put aside 3 or 4 servings in individual containers or individual super cube freezer things so that thawing is really easy for you. But batch cooking can really work for you too. Like I'm in a 2-person household and we do that all the time. We always put our extra soup servings right in the freezer. And that just makes the super busy weeks so much easier, because then if we really don't have time to cook one weekend, we've got a store of things in the freezer. And we already know they taste good because we've had them before.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big soup girl. It's super funny because my husband actually doesn't love soup because he thinks that's poor food. It always became kind of a joke. He's gotten on board with it now, but for years I had to break him of this philosophy, this mentality in his brain. And if you have anything like that that is holding you stuck, I encourage you to lean into it and figure out why it is. Because if you're not gonna figure out why you're stuck, it's never going to fix itself. It's not going to just like, again, magically one day drop out of the sky and be like, okay, the block that you had there is fixed. Like, it's not going to do that. You have to actually actively do work. But I would cook like giant batches of soup because not only do I love them, but it's just like such good comfort food. And you're right. It freezes super easy. You throw it into a container, freeze that sucker or whatever, but you can literally do it with anything. If I found an amazing deal on, let's say, I don't know, bell peppers, I literally will buy a ton of them, chop them all up, put them into Ziplocs, put them in the freezer. And then when I need bell peppers for something, I just pull out the bag, pull out what I need, use them, and then move on down the path. And so, again, I think a lot of times when people are thinking about healthy food, they're thinking about cooking in general, they're thinking about all these things, they're convinced that they have to be expensive and hard and, well, that's great for you because you like to cook or whatever. Yes, I am blessed that I do like to cook, but the truth is that you can do it even without that, right? Like you just, again, have to be diligent, intentional, and make decisions. What's more important, right? Is it more important for you to be in the state that you're in, where maybe you are overweight or you're emotionally eating or whatever those things look like? Or would you rather be intentional, not only to help your financial health, but also to help your physical health, right? And they're all tied together, because if you're feeling like crap physically, guess what you're probably going to do? You're probably not going to spend your money in the most healthy, best way.
Yes. And I also want everyone to hear, like, we talked about a lot of different tools, like a lot of different ways you could improve how you're eating, both for your health and for your finances. But you don't want to do all of those. Like, no. Pick
Yeah,
one that seems to match your
absolutely.
issue the best and try it. And like Jack said, like, play with it and see if it works, because you're not going to change your mind unless you try something different and see what comes of it. So pick one thing, try it for 2 weeks. If it doesn't work, pick another thing. But that's the important thing. You don't have to do everything at once. Just pick one thing and do it.
You don't. Well, and that's the other thing too is like if you are in a bigger family, I highly encourage you to get your entire family involved when it comes to food. So, there's nothing worse being a mom than you make something and the kids are like, I don't want to eat it, right? And that's honestly a lot of times, to be real, why parents don't want to cook because they're like, I don't want to hear my kid's mouth. I just don't. I don't want to hear the whining. So my girls knew that every month there was a list they could write down what their ideas were for the month of like what they'd like to see on the menu. And we would incorporate those into the meal, right? Like into our meal planning. And why did I do that? Well, because when they were like, I didn't like that. Did you help me make some decisions? Because I don't see that you wrote anything on the board. And if you didn't write anything on the board, you got nobody to blame but yourself, baby.
That's
So,
brilliant.
like involve the other people in your life that you're having to make food decisions with. Like if you are just you and a spouse or you and a significant other, or whatever, involve them, right? Because that's the other way you'll get into it and you'll want to go out to eat is because that person, whoever they are, they're complaining that, oh gosh, Megan, all we eat is what you loved as a kid. Like, I don't want to eat spaghetti for the 400th time, okay? I want to eat it.
I love that so much. Yeah, you have so much power to take a little bit off your plate. And so if that's utilizing the folks in your house who have a stake in what they get to eat, don't they? Then
Exactly.
do it. Like, it doesn't have to all fall on you. There are so many ways you can slowly get everyone in the house invested in this and doing some of the work, if not most of the work eventually.
Oh, my children knew
Yes.
you got one of two jobs in my household. If we were eating, you got to either help cook or help clean. Now, if everybody helped cook, then everybody helped clean, but you were getting to do one or the other. I'll never forget. It was actually one of the biggest fights I ever had with my stepdaughter. I don't know, she was having an attitude that day. It was a teenager, it's okay. It happens, right?
Mhm.
I said, hey, are you gonna come, either help cook or are you gonna clean up or whatever? I'll help cook. So she came downstairs. Oh, I'm sorry, no, she didn't. She stayed upstairs in her room the whole time. Fine. I made her come down to be part of the family to eat. She was not happy with me because she didn't really want to be there. I'm not eating. I said, that's great. You don't have to eat. I'm not going to force, especially when they're getting to a certain age and letting them have a certain level of body autonomy. I'm not forcing that issue. I'm letting them make those calls. We finish eating and she tries to go back upstairs. I said, absolutely not. You will be helping clean. But I didn't eat. I said, you are a part of this family and you get to help. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's not part of the deal. It's not you eat,
Yeah,
you clean. It's
that's
you're a
right.
part of the family, you do one of the two.
That's right. And so I think a lot of times people are so concerned with being friends to their children they don't want them to do anything that's not fun. But the truth is what I've learned is there is a lot of self-worth that is built from a lot of these skill sets, from being a part of a family, from doing all these things. So a lot of times we are convincing ourselves too that we're not going to help our children be successful financially or otherwise if we're forcing them to help cook, help clean, do all of these things that, aren't fun. Well, the truth of the matter is that actually you're giving them self-worth. You're helping them create a sense of success, of mastery in themselves. And if you don't create that, that's in my personal opinion why we have a lot of the epidemic we have mental health wise is because a lot of people don't feel like they can do anything. Because again, think about something that your parents didn't teach you, and now you're in adulthood and you're feeling bad about yourself. Why do you feel bad about it? You feel bad because you feel like you should know. Like, I'm an adult, like I should know this. Well, again, to my point, how are you going to figure that out? Like, again, a rock's not going to just drop out the sky and whack you in the head. So,
And it's another great argument for self-compassion too, because if you're struggling
yes,
with something, that means it was not taught to you yet. You get to teach yourself now, that's okay, but you don't have to
absolutely.
get down on yourself. It's just something you get to teach yourself now.
Absolutely. Well, no, and that's why, I mean, like I said, I had multiple roommates who are like, I can't cook. Like, this is what they're convinced of. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I know that you're fully, I mean, part of the reason I started this podcast too, and you can ask Megan, I ask every single person before they become a guest, do you believe that people are powerful beyond measure? Do you believe that? Because I believe whoever is listening to this, you are powerful beyond measure. Whatever you want your life to look like with food, with health, with money, that can be your reality if you make that choice. If you are leaning in and you're asking questions or whatever. And guess what? To her point about self-compassion, you're not going to do it perfectly.
Mhm.
The first couple of times you might burn the meal. It's okay. It's all right. Right? Like, it's okay. Don't get upset. Maybe, you just need to step back and say, okay, like, why did I burn that? Was I not paying attention? Was I cooking it too high? Like, what was that looking like or whatever, right? Like, whatever that is. But if you aren't trying, if you're not stepping forward each and every day, like, hey, I'm going to try, I'm going to, whatever. I mean, that's how you get to mastery.
Yeah.
It's not, I didn't get there because I was like, oh, well, my families are chefs, so I'm a chef like that. No. It's all happen.
Yeah, and how could you put in a little bit of work every day and not get better? Think about it that way. Like, if you spend 10 minutes every day, how could you not get better? Come on.
Have you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
Yes, I love that book so much.
So I'm reading the book right now, and literally, I think it was yesterday when I was listening to it on my way to work. They were talking about how they did a study where there was literally two groups of people, and group one, they basically told, I think it was in like college or something. They told them that they were not required to turn in any assignments, but they were going to be judged solely on the one last photo they took. And their whole grade was going to be based on it, but basically it needed to be perfect or pretty close to perfect. And then all the other students, they told them, you are going to have to take photos along the way or whatever, and you're not going to be based on the last photo being perfect, but your overall body of work, like, getting better, basically.
Yeah, your quantity. Like, I think they were told to, like, do
quantity. That's right.
Like, you're going to be graded on quantity. And it was crazy which group was better.
Yeah, and they said that the quantity group was way better than the quality group, because the quality group sat around, like, thinking to themselves and trying to figure out, like, theorize what's going to make the photo better and this and that and whatever. And the quantity group were just trying it. They were like taking a photo. Oh, I didn't really like the composition. Okay, let me take another photo. Okay, I didn't like the lighting. You know what I mean? And they were just like trying it to get like one step better. And that's resonated and spoke to me hugely because I am such a natural perfectionist. I want to do it well, and I want to do it right, and I want to do it the first time. But so often I don't take the action I should take because I'm sitting and overthink, like, well, I can't do this, or I'm going to do it wrong this time or whatever. But the point of his whole thing is like, you need to like be taking the imperfect action to get to where you want to be. And so it really stuck with me because I was like, okay, I hear you speaking directly to me. It's fine. I'm over here. It's fine.
I love that. Take the brain out of it. The more we take the brain out of it, the better we get at everything.
Well, I joke that all my problems are self-created. It's all up here, baby. Like, my brain is dealing with all the problems.
I feel it. I feel it hard.
All right. Well, this has been an amazing episode. I think you have something to offer the listeners, so I'll let you offer that and we'll wrap us up.
Sounds awesome. And thank you. Yes. Okay. So for anyone who's listening and they heard something, like a tidbit of something that they think is their problem, but they're not sure. And if your goal is weight loss and like money and weight loss is all combined for you, I do have something called a money and weight loss audit call. And I opened up after the release of this, I'm going to open up 2 free sessions for that. So the first 2 people to message me are going to get those 2 sessions. So please do message me at my Instagram, which is partake_foodie. And just message me FM 2025 and we will get you signed up for that. And the call is really good because basically during it's 45 minutes just with me. We're going to uncover the 1 to 2 specific things that are holding you back from weight loss, usually involving money, and your kind of beliefs about it. And we're going to next kind of outline your 2 to 3 next steps. And then I'm going to send you off with homework so you can actually get started with it that day. So my Instagram is partake_foodie. So go ahead and message me there.
Awesome. I love that. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I think money and food might be two of my favorite topics. So I could probably be talking about this for like the next 20 years.
Oh, me
Just
too.
because, like I said, and it's so funny because they're so heavily tied and so many people don't tie them together, but they really are. And so, guys, if you're listening and you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't know how to start being financially successful. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Like I just don't know. I can almost bet you money that with food, you probably can kind of start that process if you are diligent, if you are, intentional in creating a plan. And so hopefully some of these ideas were helpful for you. Again, we're not expecting you to go and implement all of them because that would be crazy town. So start with something small, implement, and then just get better day over day. And so hopefully this episode of Financial Mastery Simplified helped you. And we'll see you again next week on another episode of Financial Mastery Simplified.